In 18 months, a huge percentage of couples buying camper vans in 2026 will quietly quit, and most of them will blame van life instead of the mistake they made before they ever left the dealership. Here's what's actually happening, and this is where most couples get misled before they even compare vans. The most watched couples van content on YouTube right now is built on aesthetics, storytelling, and affiliate relationships. Nobody is telling you which vans have a $3,500 repair bill waiting at mile 40,000. Nobody's explaining why the layout that looks perfect in a tour video turns into the same argument every single night until the van isn't the problem anymore. And nobody is breaking down why two vans at the same sticker price have a $14,000 gap in 5-year ownership cost. I've seen couples spend $120,000 on a beautifully converted van, perfectly photographed, flawlessly toured, and sell it at a loss 14 months later. The maintenance costs broke their budget, the layout broke their patience, and by the end, they weren't arguing about the van anymore, they were arguing about everything else. They didn't quit because van life was wrong for them. They quit because they bought with their eyes instead of their spreadsheet. There's also one cost almost nobody budgets for that shows up around month 6 quietly, and it's not what you think. I'll break that down later. And there's one specific mistake that costs couples more money than any wrong van choice ever could. That's near the end. Stay for it. 6 vans. US and European markets, real prices, real ownership costs, and a clear verdict on who each one is actually built for. Before the vans, here's the framework. 4 criteria determine whether a camper van works for 2 people long-term: sleeping configuration, mechanical serviceability, real livable square footage, and drivetrain reliability past 100,000 miles. Every van gets measured against all 4, no exceptions. And throughout each section, I'll tell you exactly what platform sits underneath, because the chassis is the decision that outlasts the conversion. Layouts can be lived with. A bad platform follows you for years. Van 1. Winnebago Solis 59PX. The Winnebago Solis is the most well-rounded, purpose-built couples camper van in the US market right now, and it's not particularly close. Here's what you're actually buying. The Solis 59PX sits on a Ram ProMaster high-roof extended wheelbase. That's the decision most reviewers gloss over because the ProMaster gets dismissed constantly for its front-wheel drive layout. Here's the truth they're not telling you. For couples doing 95% of their travel on paved roads, which describes nearly every full-time van life couple and every retiree road traveler, front-wheel drive in a modern high-roof cargo van is not a liability. It's just different. And that layout gives the ProMaster the lowest load floor in its class, which translates directly into more headroom inside the Solis than transit-based competitors at the same roof height. Here's what Winnebago gets right. The 59PX interior width hits 76 inches, class-leading. Wide enough for a true fixed queen bed without the compromised sleeping configurations forced on narrower platforms. There's a wet bath with a separate shower, a real galley with an induction cooktop, and a 100 amp-hour lithium system is standard. Ceiling height clears 6 feet in the rear living area. Here's where most couples get this wrong. The fixed bed is non-negotiable for full-time living together. Any layout that requires converting a dinette into a sleeping surface every night stops being an adventure by week 3. It becomes a chore. Chores create friction. Friction compounds. This is what quietly keeps couples from burning out in month 3. The Solis eliminates that from day 1. Now, the financial argument. The ProMaster's 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 is a gasoline engine with over a decade of refinement. No DPF, no AdBlue, no diesel-specific service complexity. Parts are inexpensive and available everywhere. Labor rates at independent shops are significantly lower than anything in the Sprinter ecosystem. Over 5 years, ProMaster-based builds consistently come in $5,000 to $8,000 lower in maintenance costs than comparable Sprinter-based vans before you factor in the purchase price gap. MSRP on the Solis lands between $89,000 and $96,000. Custom Sprinter builds in the same livability tier routinely run $110,000 to $140,000. The Solis delivers comparable daily function at a lower entry point on a simpler, cheaper-to-run platform. Who it's for? U.S. couples who want a factory-finished, move-in-ready van with class-leading interior width and a platform that keeps maintenance costs predictable for years. Who it's not for? Couples needing 4WD or serious off-pavement capability. The front-wheel drive ProMaster has real limits the moment you leave paved surfaces. Van 2. Airstream Atlas. The Airstream Atlas is the Sprinter argument done correctly. It's also the easiest van on this list to buy for the wrong reasons. MSRP runs $150,000 to $175,000. Here's exactly what you're paying for and what you're not. The Atlas sits on a Mercedes Sprinter 170 extended wheelbase. That platform decision alone brings superior long-distance ride quality, Euro 6 compliance for international travel, and the 2026 Sprinter's updated driver assist suite, adaptive cruise, lane keeping, crosswind assist. Over thousands of miles with 2 people alternating behind the wheel, that matters. Here's what Airstream gets right on top. The rear lounge converts to a true king bed, full stand-up bathroom, proper shower, Mercedes-powered awning, Volta power management. The fit and finish throughout is legitimate luxury, not a transit-based van wearing expensive clothes. This is a different product category entirely. Here's the part nobody tells you before you sign. The Sprinter platform costs more to maintain, always. Fault codes in remote areas mean longer waits and higher bills. This is the moment where one partner realizes the van they loved comes with a cost they didn't agree to. And this is where couples start arguing, usually around month 6 when the first major service bill arrives, and one partner didn't fully understand what the platform commitment meant. That conversation gets expensive fast in more ways than one. 5-year total ownership cost on an Atlas, depreciation, maintenance, insurance, fuel, runs significantly higher than the Solis. If you have the budget and understand the commitment, the Atlas is exceptional. If you're stretching to afford it, the Solis gives you 80% of the livability at 60% of the cost and risk. Who it's for? U.S. couples with a firm $150,000 plus budget, long-distance luxury travel, and zero sticker shock at service rates. Who it's not for? Couples rationalizing the premium without running the 5-year cost math first. Van number 3. Storyteller Overland Mode 4x4. This is the van for the couple that every other video in this segment ignores. The Storyteller Overland Mode sits on a Mercedes Sprinter with a Quigley 4WD conversion. Before you dismiss this as niche, understand what that actually unlocks. BLM dispersed camping, national forest access, high-altitude Colorado passes, serious off-pavement travel. Every other van on this list is the wrong answer for that use case. The Mode is built for exactly that, and nothing else does it at this level of interior finish. Here's the spec reality most buyers miss. The Quigley 4WD conversion adds $12,000 to $15,000 to the base cost and raises the floor height, reducing interior headroom by roughly 2 inches compared to the standard Sprinter high roof. That's a real trade-off. For couples spending the majority of their time at campgrounds or doing urban van life, you are paying for capability you will never use. This is where this stings. Couples buy the Mode because it looks capable and feels like freedom, then spend 90% of their nights at full hookup RV parks on flat asphalt, wondering why they paid a $15,000 premium for a suspension lift they never needed. Be honest about how you actually travel before you write that check. But for couples who want to park where nobody else can reach, the Mode justifies every dollar. Storyteller's interior is thoughtful. The dually bed system converts from lounge to sleeping without a wrestling match. The gallery is compact but functional. Build quality has improved significantly since 2023. MSRP runs $139,000 to $155,000. Who it's for? U.S. couples prioritizing off-pavement access, public land camping, and adventure-first travel. Who it's not for? Couples spending 90% of their time on paved roads. You're paying for 4WD you'll never touch.
Van number 4. Hymer Grand Canyon S.
For European couples who want off-road capability and premium build quality in the same package, the Hymer Grand Canyon S is the benchmark, and it earns that position on merit. The Grand Canyon S sits on a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter chassis. That platform choice matters differently in Europe than it does in the US. The Sprinter dealer network across Western Europe is dense. You are rarely more than an hour from an authorized service partner in Germany, France, the Netherlands, or Spain. The rural America serviceability problem that plagues Sprinter owners in the US largely disappears here. Here's what Hymer builds on that platform. The Grand Canyon S is available in two lengths, the 600 at 5.93 meters and the new 700 at just under 7 meters, and in standard rear-wheel drive or factory 4x4 via Mercedes' 4MATIC permanent all-wheel drive system. That factory 4x4 option is significant. Unlike aftermarket lift conversions, the Sprinter 4MATIC integrates at the chassis level, cleaner, more reliable, and warranty-supported. For European couples planning off-grid wild camping, mountain passes, or remote Stellplatz access, this is the off-pavement argument done correctly. The interior is classic Hymer, tidy, well-engineered, and built to last. The rear bed lifts to reveal a practical garage space underneath. The kitchen is compact but functional. The 2025 model added the Hymer Connect system, a single touchscreen for battery, water, solar, and lighting management, plus an 80 amp-hour lithium battery is standard. The Sprinter platform carries Euro 6D certification across all variants, full LEZ, ULEZ, and ZFE compliance. This van goes everywhere in Europe without friction. Here's what most buyers only discover after purchase. Couples who choose a non-compliant vehicle to save money up front are looking at restricted access to Paris, London, Madrid, and Milan, city restrictions that tighten every year. That's not a temporary inconvenience, that's a travel plan that shrinks annually until the van is worth less and goes fewer places than the day you bought it. MSRP runs approximately 70,000 to 95,000 euros, depending on length, drivetrain, and specification. The 4x4 option adds roughly 6,200 euros before compulsory equipment packages. Who it's for? European couples prioritizing premium build quality, continental travel, emission compliance, and optional off-road capability. Who it's not for? Budget-focused buyers. This is a premium product at a premium price, and the specification cost adds up quickly once you start configuring. Van 5. Volkswagen California Ocean. The Volkswagen California Ocean is the benchmark, not because it's the most spacious or the most luxurious, because it's the most precisely engineered van for the way European couples actually travel. The California sits on VW's T6.1 platform, with VW's dealership density across Europe unmatched by any competitor. You are never far from a service center, anywhere on the continent. Here's what the 2026 Ocean delivers as standard. Dual-zone climate control, pull-out kitchen with a 2-burner cooktop, integrated refrigerator and fresh water system. Pop-up roof with full standing room, and the entire vehicle fits in a standard European parking bay, which sounds trivial until you've spent 20 minutes trying to reverse a Sprinter-based motorhome into a medieval Italian hill town. The TDI carries Euro 6D certification, full LEZ, ULEZ, ZFE compliance. This van goes everywhere without friction. Here's what most California content won't say. The pop-up roof sleeping configuration is superb in warm weather. In cold climates without supplemental heating, it becomes genuinely uncomfortable. And this is the moment couples realize the van that felt perfect on a summer test drive is a different experience entirely on a February night in the Swiss Alps. Year-round travelers need to budget for an upgraded heating solution before departure, not after the first cold night. The other honest conversation is price versus space. At 68,000 to 78,000 euros, you are paying California money for a deliberately compact footprint. If your partner needs elbow room comparable to a larger motorhome, the California will frustrate them within a month. If you both embrace the compact philosophy, it's the most enjoyable van to live in on this list. Who it's for? European couples who value maneuverability, serviceability, emission compliance, and factory-finished quality over raw living space. Who it's not for? couples needing full-time fixed-bed comfort, cold-weather year-round travel without upgrades, or American-scale interior dimensions. Van 6, Westfalia Kepler 1. The Westfalia Kepler 1 is what you buy when you want the California's philosophy, compact, maneuverable, VW-based, but with a bathroom on board and enough interior to actually live in. The Kepler 1 sits on a Volkswagen T6.1 long wheelbase platform. That's the same VW family as the California Ocean, which means the same dense European dealer network, the same parts availability, and the same Euro 6D compliance across all engine variants. You are not sacrificing serviceability by choosing Westfalia over VW. You're getting the same foundation with a different builder's interpretation on top. Here's what Westfalia delivers on that platform that the California doesn't. A private wet bathroom with an indoor shower, toilets, and water heater. Standard. That single feature is what separates a van you can travel in from a van you can actually live in. The California makes you plan around campsite facilities. The Kepler 1 doesn't. The interior is designed around an L-shaped lounge that converts into a double bed. It's not a fixed permanent bed. The dining area converts, which requires a step each evening. For couples doing full-time living, that matters, and you should know it going in. The pop-up roof adds 2 more sleeping berths, which makes this genuinely viable as a 4-person family van, not just a couple's vehicle. The kitchen carries a 51-liter compressor fridge, a 2-burner gas hob, and a sink. Compact, but properly functional. At 5.30 meters long and under 2 meters high without the pop-up deployed, the Kepler 1 passes under standard European parking barriers and pays car rate tolls in France. That's not a minor point. That's daily use practicality that a longer motorhome simply cannot match. Here's what separates the couples who love this van from the ones who should have bought a California instead. If you were doing weekend trips and short holidays, the California's factory finish and driving experience is the better choice. But if you were traveling for weeks or months at a time, the moment you spend your first full week in the Kepler 1, indoor shower, private bathroom, no campsite dependency, the comparison stops mattering. You stop thinking about what the California has, you just travel. Starting price for the 2026 Kepler 1 sits at approximately €68,890, making it more accessible than the Grand Canyon S while delivering the core feature, private bathroom, that the California lacks entirely. Who it's for? European couples planning extended or seasonal travel who need a private bathroom, VW platform reliability, and genuine compactness for everyday use. Who it's not for? Couples wanting a fixed permanent bed, or full-time van lifers who need maximum off-grid power. The Kepler 1's electrical system is modest and benefits from upgrades for serious off-grid use. The cost nobody budgets for, and the mistake that costs the most. Earlier, I told you there's one cost that shows up around month 6 that almost nobody sees coming. Here it is. It's not the service bill. It's not the fuel. It's the combination of 3 things hitting simultaneously. Insurance reclassification when you register a van as a full-time dwelling, tire replacement on a heavily loaded build running $1,200 to $1,800 for a full set, and lithium battery degradation that starts reducing capacity noticeably after 18 to 24 months of heavy daily cycling if the system was undersized at purchase. None of these are catastrophic individually. Together, in the same quarter, they're the moment most couples start questioning whether they made the right call. The couples who survive that moment are the ones who budgeted for it before they left the dealership. The ones who didn't are the ones selling at a loss on month 14. Now, the mistake that costs couples the most money. It's not choosing the wrong van. It's buying new when the used market right now is offering the same vehicles at 20% to 30% discounts, with depreciation already absorbed by someone else. Build and conversion costs have risen 30 to 45% since 2020, but the resale market hasn't caught up, which means a 2020 or 2021 Solis, Atlas, California, or Kepler, inspected properly, can be purchased at pre-inflation build cost embedded in a depreciated vehicle. That window exists right now. It will close within 18 months as older inventory tightens. Smart couples are entering van life with lower debt, higher cash reserves, and the same hardware. That financial cushion is what gets you through month 6 when the tires and the battery and the insurance all arrive at the same time. Final verdict. U.S. couples, reliability, value, 5-year math, Winnebago Solis 59PX, the correct answer for most buyers. Premium budget, full ownership commitment, Airstream Atlas, exceptional product, know what you're signing up for. Off-pavement, public land, adventure first, Storyteller Overland Mode 4x4. Nothing else in this segment competes. European couples, compact travel, maneuverability, continental serviceability, Volkswagen California Ocean, the benchmark for how Europeans actually travel. Practical value, emission compliance, compact footprint with a fixed bed, Hymer Grand Canyon S, the most underrated van on this list. Full-time or extended travel, fixed bed, real shower, and off-grid capability, Westfalia Kepler 1, the van that stops feeling like camping. Do the 5-year math before you sign anything. Every van on this list is a good product. Not every van on this list is right for you. The couples who regret van life didn't buy the wrong van. They ignored the math, and the math doesn't care what you wanted the van to be. One question before you go. Of these 6 vans, which one matches your actual travel plan, and which one are you tempted by for the wrong reasons? Tell me in the comments, because that gap between those 2 answers is exactly where the expensive mistake lives.